Yo, what's up, everybody? Monday, July 1st. Gonna be a short week. We got 4th of July coming up. I've been running around all day doing stuff, but we had a positive close in the month. Today was July 1st, so it's first of the month payments day. That's a big flow day. So I'm not surprised that the market closed up, but the gains were modest gains. And I don't expect them to continue or to go very far. The thing we have to keep an eye on here is the stuff I've been talking about now for a while, which is net government transfers, aka the deficit. Now that's been dropping year over year, as I've been telling you guys. And, we went from like early in the first quarter, it was like a 70, 80 billion year over year decline. Then we got April, May was like, around 199, 100 billion. Then June, when June hit, April, May, I should say, we went to like 185 billion down. And then when June hit, we went to 276 billion down. So there's been a progression in the drop, in the slowdown of these net government transfers compared to last year. I have to say that, to qualify what I'm talking about. Net government transfers year over year compared to last year. We're still going to come out this year with like a 1.4 trillion deficit, which, compared to recent times, that's like, oh, such a little deficit, right? But I mean, if you think back historically to when they used to go crazy, the media and analysts and economists, when the deficit was like 275, 350 billion, they used to freak out. And now we've just become used to seeing deficits over $1 trillion, and actually well over $1 trillion. Last year was 1.7. The year before that, we had like a 2.9. I'm sorry, in 2021, we had a 2.9. Then it dropped down in 2022. It dropped a little bit more in 2023, and then this year it's dropping down. But those are still on a nominal basis. I mean, you're talking about well over $1 trillion. So, there's water in the pool, to use a swimming pool analogy. It's just not at the same level it was last year, and that was not at the same level the year before, and that was not at the same level the year before. So it's normal to see a slowdown, and we've had this tremendous stock market rise based on really two things. Well, you could talk about the leading flows are still very strong, but mainly it's been the optimism or the expectation for a Fed rate cut, right? You don't hear them talking about that too much anymore. The monetarists, the story now has really become the AI. Everybody watches a couple of stocks, really NVIDIA, every single day. It's a narrow advance. I have been saying that, oh, by the way, I wanted to mention this on Friday, and I had already done the video, but remember I said, and I have been saying, that the Atlanta Fed, they boosted their second quarter GDP forecast back up to 3.2%. Remember, first their very first forecast was 4.2%. Then I said, that's absurd. It's never going to be 4.2%. It's going to be, at best, it's going to be like what the first quarter was, which was like 1.6%. And I said, they're going to have to revise that down. They will revise that down. And sure enough, there was 5 downward revisions where they finally got down to a 1.5 to a 1.6 growth rate for the second quarter. And then all of a sudden, a couple of weeks ago, I think it was on one strong retail sales report, all of a sudden, they jumped their forecast back up to 3.2%. Now, in the last week and a half, I've been telling you guys, they're going to have to bring that down again. They're going to have to bring that down again. And sure enough, on Friday, they brought it down to 2.1%. Folks, I'm sitting here with my very simplistic analytical framework, which is the fiscal flows. And I'm sure they got a half a dozen economists, if not more, over there at the Atlanta Fed with some very complicated economic models. And they're bouncing around left and right, obviously not incorporating the things that I use, which is the fiscal flows, where I always tell you guys the fiscal flows, that is the first derivative of economic activity, okay, at least for the United States, because the foreign sector is a net saver. Okay, the domestic non-government sector is a net saver. So somebody has to be a net spender. That's the government of the United States. Okay, if we were a net exporter and the foreign sector was the net spender, then it would be a different story. But that's not the case for the United States. So the spending entity in the United States is the government. And so that's the first derivative of all economic activity for the United States. Maybe one day that's going to change. Maybe we'll end up being a net exporter. I don't know. Right now, and it's been this way for a long time, and it's not some secret, it's not some mystery. Anybody could ascertain this information. You just look at what is the balance of the United States. Like we're a net importer. We're net saver, and I know a lot of you say, saver, what are you talking about? Everybody's in debt. No, we have 35 trillion national debt that the non-government owns, okay? They own that debt, that savings. That's why I always say if they ever want to get rid of that debt, all these idiots who are talking about that, they would literally have to tax away 35 trillion from the non-government sector. They would have to remove 35 trillion US dollars, in every form circulating around the globe. That would not be good, okay? So remember, the fiscal flows are the first derivative, and it even comes before credit, before the banking sector. Because when money's being pumped into the economy from the government, right? Government sending out Social Security checks, maybe paying contractors and vendors, defense vendors, paying the military, paying disability, paying for things. That is an asset that is received by the non-government, and it allows them to function and whatever, live and pay their bills or whatever. And there's less of a need, when that is at a high level, there's less of a need to tap into credit. Okay, we saw this very clearly in the pandemic when massive, increases in fiscal flows. You had bank loans collapse. Bank loans outstanding. The outstanding nominal amount of loans outstanding, they collapsed. Why? Because people were using those flows, that money from the government, to pay down debt. When you pay down debt, it erases it, okay? It wipes it off the balance sheet. So we saw a huge contraction during that time. Now the opposite is true. Like now, when year over year net government transfers are shrinking, okay, what's happening? The reverse. Bank credit, bank loans, they're starting to accelerate again. People are tapping into credit. It's very easy to understand. It's very logical. There's two kinds of, I wouldn't even call credit money, but let's call it that for now. There's two types of money. There's bank money, which is credit, and then there's government money, high-powered money, which is just, that comes to you, and it comes to you with no offsetting liability. If you get a Social Security check, boom, you put it in the bank, that's yours. There's nothing you have to pay back. If you get a bank loan, everybody knows you got to pay that back, and you got to pay that back with actual dollars in your account. The banks end up making the profit on the interest, but that doesn't add really to the debtor's net financial assets. That's an asset and a liability at the same time. So fiscal flows are the first derivative, and again, I'm always ahead of these guys like the Atlanta Fed and all these others. And, it's not meant to tap myself on the back. It's just to point out that whatever they're doing, they're leaving out the most important element to economic forecasting. And they're going with these data releases that in many cases they're 30 days old, 60 days old, a whole quarter behind. So it's, to use that expression, it's like driving your car by looking in the rearview mirror. All right, that's not telling you what's coming up ahead. What's coming up ahead is based on the fiscal flows. And I'm the only one who does this. There aren't even any other MMT people who do this, and there's certainly not any other MMT people who incorporate this into like how to invest, how to trade, blah, 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 this kind of thing. Anyway, folks, that's it for today, Monday, July 1st. We've got a short week, July 4th on Thursday. Please I forgot to say this at the beginning. I hope you're still around. Please like and subscribe if you choose to. It helps the channel a lot. I really appreciate it. I see the numbers are going up in terms of subscribers, and that's great. Thank you very much. Keep doing it. And don't forget, go to my website, pitbulleconomics.com. Sign up for a 30-day free. Check it out. Try it out. There's a lot more that I send out during the day. There's recommendations in there, stocks, industries, sectors, currencies, metals, all kinds of stuff. All right, see you guys tomorrow. Bye.